It's time for Bookkeeping Beer and BS.
That scalability that you're talking about, that question has been one of the biggest questions asked to me, humbly said, whether it's during public speaking. I'm giving my time to another fellow entrepreneur to help them. I always give them like, hey, one question, if you could ask me anything, what would it be? Guy that, scaled the business from 2 men in a driveway to over 100 team members, what would it be? And the question that was the most common was, if you could just give us one nugget, like if you had to dig into your bag of nuggets and just, here's the one that you always go back to, what would it be? And it honestly probably took me like 2 years of that question being asked. And it would I would just pull out such low hanging fruit answers like, know your ideal client. I'm like, what the hell kind of answer? Everybody should know that, right? Like it was, make sure you got a good training program in place. And if I'm like the dude that's trying to just cultivate my, my first number 2 or really just get a crew going, I'm like, that's what Sam had to say. No, and I really realized that I was just kind of grabbing the first thing that came into my mind because I didn't want to freak people out. But today on the Bookkeeping Beer and BS show, we're going to share that nugget. And if we can get to unpack it, great. But it's always just a subject in my heart. There's not a day I'm on a coaching call or in my business and the subject comes up when we're looking at a monument of a past mistake. But here's what it is, and you touched on it. You said building that first manager, whatever it was. It's putting people into leadership roles that had no business being there, but you did it because they were good at the craft. So I got stories for days on that. But take a guy that was, I break our organizations down, and you can even apply this in your friendships as well. But I break organizations down to the 80-15-5 rule. And everybody says, what's the 80-15-5 rule? I'll tell you what that is. 80% of people that are part of your team do just enough to not get fired. Literally, they show up for work. They want to make sure if they're not on time, they cheat their time. They just don't want to lose their job. They're there to get their paycheck. They're there to serve, do the role. Not saying they're bad people. They really just don't care if they ever go any further than where they're at. You got 15% of your team members that do just a little bit more, or they deliver in that foreman or lead technician role with excellence. And you know what happens to that 15%? We promote them because we go, this guy's got management.
Look at how they're performing relative to all their peers.
Yep. That person ends up in a management role, and really they're just a lead tech that was a little bit better than the rest of them. So we promote them. Then your other 5% are truly your ambassadors of growth. They're your pioneers of your vision movement. They're the ones that really, without them, your business will never grow. They say a business is only as good as what the CEO can do, but really, I'll tell you, a business is only as good as what the number 2 and the number 3 looks like. Yep. And I'll tell you, for me, my 5% group, it's probably more like a 3% group, just because I've got a couple of good heavy hitters, and they're all in. Whatever. They work hard to not let problems make their way to me. And trust me, when you're in doing what we're doing, there's problems every single day. But they do a great job of saying, hey, we'll just handle these before they even have to make their way to Sam. Where in other organizations that don't have those couple of key people, you've got that 15% group. And when they get faced with those big problems, whatever the case may be, we don't need to go down, and y'all know what the problems are. The first thing they do of their way of solving it is to call the owner. That's what they do. And it's like, man, so we just have this unwritten rule that if there's a problem, and we know we have problems, if it's going to make its way to our senior leadership, every problem has to come with 3 solutions. And the caveat to that is that at least one of the 3 solutions has to involve the person that brought it to your attention. So think wisely before you're going to bring those problems over, because you're going to probably end up being a part of trying to solve it, because we don't need more fault finders on our team. We have plenty of them. We know there's problems. Yeah. And so that 80-15-5 rule is so true. And if you evaluate that even in your friendships, you've got 80% of people that's going to be like the people that, hey, you might have a beer with, if that, but they're the person that you see them in public and you'd acknowledge them. They interact with you on your social platforms. They're buddies. But then you got 15%. Maybe that's more of like the beer club. That's somebody that, hey, you may take time out of a busy schedule to meet them for lunch or meet them for a beer after work, whatever. But then that true 3 to 5%, that's like your best peeps, man. Those are the people that are going to tell you what you need to hear, not just what you want to hear. And that same principle, man, I can't encourage this enough with entrepreneurs, is just always be evaluating that in your business, looking for who are really those 5%. And those are your pioneers. Those are the ones that you want to be empowering to another level. And I'll tell you, nothing will frustrate them more than you ignoring them for the 15, even worse for the 80. And so just always be thinking that principle. So there's one little nugget to add to our call today. I wanted to share that.
Hey, what's up, business nerd? Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you learned a heck of a lot watching that episode. Do me a favor, subscribe right down here. And if you really like what you saw, you got more goods right here. Check out this one or check out this one and do this. Go subscribe. Appreciate you. Work smarter, work harder, go earn yourself some pride. Catch you on the next one.